So today what I'm going to do is actually wire the exhaust fan from one of the power source locations, and I'm going to also add what you see down here. I'm going to add a humidistat with a switch to the fan, so I can control the fan will turn on when the humidity is adjusted. That's my plan. The first thing I have to do is to mount some switch boxes, and one of the locations I'm thinking of mounting these switch boxes, I need two of them. So showing you the position of the fan, I don't want to be too close to the fan when I put the humidistat which controls the humidity. So I'm planning to actually mount it here. They say about 5 feet up, so I'm going to mount it here. So the wiring will come to the switch box here and then go to the humidistat box. I'm going to have to run wiring through this beam, this beam, this beam, and this one to get to the exhaust. Make sure after you cut the holes or get rid of the sharp edges of splinters that are on the other side of the drill hole. I'm going to use a file to actually go to the other sides of the drill holes to clean them up. There are no sharp edges. So you'll see I've actually run some wire. It's a 12 gauge wire. You can see the two switch outlets in the distance there. And I've ran it through the holes I drilled all the way to the fan. And we're going to zoom into the fan and look at it a little more closely. So I'm going to show you, I opened the panel on the back of the fan, and then I'm going to have to bring the yellow wire into that little opening there that you see the black and white wires sitting through. Okay, I broke it. I'm going to have to actually mount this. I'm going to put the wires through this. This little device here, this is to actually strip the insulation off wires. And then I'm going to use one of these. It's a wire stripper for the individual wires to strip the wires. Both of these you can actually get at a hardware center. Both terminals are exposed, and you would join this to this and this to this, but then I would have to first attach the ground wire in the back. So I'm going to remove the screw altogether and then put this loop in and then try to tighten it down on the loop. So you see this magnetic thing? I have the screw attached to a magnetic tip, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to insert it and try to hand screw it with this magnetic tip, which I have to find. It's like a thing you can buy in the stores, and I'm actually going to use that to try and get this screw into that hole. So the next thing we need to do is to bring the wires into the humidistat box, which is up here. And then we have the switch box right down here where we need to bring wires into. And remember, from the switch box it's going to go to the power supply. So we need to make sure that it can run up a different route to get to the power supply. I'm probably going to have to figure that out shortly. So let's start with the humidistat box, to the wires coming into the humidistat. You don't want to use anything bigger than this because you'll create a really big hole. You want to use also a mallet to knock it out. This wiring would go to the power supply, which is actually behind me. Let me show you what I did. I actually created a hole underneath this switch box. You can see the humidistat box is up there, but on the switch box I created a hole to route it on the back side, and I'm actually running the wire up to the top there. I have more holes drilled and I'm running it back to the exhaust fan, but it's not going to meet up with the exhaust fan. It's actually going to be mounted. You can kind of see there I'm putting staples to hold the wire up, and it's going to run on this beam that you see there. It's going to run all the way to past the light there where there's a junction box, and that's where I'll mount it. Next I'm going to use this wire to connect these two boxes. So let me show you how I'm going to hook up the switch. If you look at the switch on the ground wire, ground terminal, I have an extra wire that needs to come up and mate to these two ground wires. So I would actually pigtail it in here, but before I do that, I want to attach these black leads. This is the one going to the power supply, the wire going underneath, and the one coming from the top is going to the fan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this right here to the bottom terminal, the black. Both the blacks need to be connected to the switch because it's hot, and the neutrals will be just connected to themselves. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to twist this cable so it'll fit around the screw here with a pair of needle nose pliers. So the two ground wires coming from the top wire and the bottom wire are put together with a wire coming from the switch. We have the two neutral wires that we need to put together. I'm going to use a red cap for this one. Make sure they don't come out. Same thing with the grounding wires. And make sure you check the hot wires. Now we can push this all back into the box. Now I won't put the cover on this till I make sure it works after I hook it up to the power supply. So right now I got the switch hooked up, but only after I hook it up to the power supply and test it. Now this is the switch off position, this is the on position. And remember, you connect the switch to the black wires, not the white wires, not the ground wires. So that's done. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to mount this humidistat. It's a little different. It's not like a switch. There's a lot of, it's going to occupy a lot of space in that little switch box. But I have a plate that goes behind it. I have a plate that goes behind this. So I'm going to have to put the white wires together in the box. So I got the white wires connected together. Now next job for me is to push it tuck it away, and then I'll have to put the face plate on. So you have to push all the wires that you need to work with outside. And then I have a ground wire on this, and I need to put together with these two. So there's like 3 of them all together. So I have a ground wire right from the back of the humidistat that I'm putting together to the wires going from the top and the bottom. And now I got to push this inside. And before I do that, I need to connect these wires to the black terminal. So the connections have been made, and the humidistat is connected in line with the switch, which you see right there. All I have to do is to connect it to the power supply, and then see if the fan works, and then test humidities, because the humidistat detects humidities in the garage and turns on. One of the issues I've been having is I have moisture coming into the garage from the floor. So I want the humidistat to turn on when the humidity gets high in the garage so the floor dries out. I've been doing this by opening the garage door, but that's not the best way to dry the floor.